Next, let's look at the third major cycle among the four major cycles. The purchasing cycle, purchasing. The main departments involved in this cycle are the following units. First is PMC, Production Material Control. Second is Purchasing. Third is QA, and here QA refers to IQC, Incoming Quality Control. And another is the Warehouse, Warehouse Management. There are three modules used. They are the Purchasing Module, the Import System Module, and the Accounts Payable Module. These three major modules. The main responsibilities within this cycle are 5 main tasks. First is generating purchase requisitions. Second is generating purchase orders. Third is temporary receipt of incoming materials. Fourth is IQC inspection. And fifth, related to accounts payable, is the creation of accounts payable vouchers. These are the 5 major tasks in this module. Next, let's look at these 5 major tasks and the programs used along with their related content. Next, we see that in the purchasing cycle, we can divide the operational programs into several main segments. The first segment relates to new supplier creation, or the creation of price approval forms for new part numbers. These activities are included in the first block. In the second block, the main function of the programs is the creation of purchase requisitions and maintenance of requisition data. Related operational programs for purchase order creation or changes. The third block covers scenarios when purchased materials are shipped to us from the supplier. If imported from abroad, there will be customs declaration procedures. If it's a domestic supplier, the task of creating an incoming material temporary receipt note needs to be performed, and the IQC inspection performed by quality control personnel, IQC, on the temporarily received materials. After the materials are accepted, an accounts payable voucher needs to be generated. Subsequent payment processing is also included in this final part. Next, we'll use the flowchart below to explain the related activities within the cycle. Let's assume we have a material that needs to be produced for us by a new supplier. Initially, we need to establish the basic information for this new supplier in the system. Therefore, we first need to create the vendor master record for this supplier. After the vendor master is created, for the raw materials to be produced by this supplier, we use the Create Vendor by Item program to link this supplier with the materials they are supposed to produce. At the same time, for these raw materials that the new supplier will produce, use the Create Price Checking List program to create a price approval form for sign-off. Finally, the materials that can be produced by this supplier will have an approved price for future ordering. After having the approved price, let's continue. We will see the purchase order creation process. The data needed for purchase order creation is transferred from the operations on the right side. This part primarily comes from related data generated in the LRP module. What data is transferred from the LRP module to the purchasing module? That's right, it's the purchase requisition related data that is imported. Of course, the purchase requisition might require some adjustments. When this information is consolidated in the purchase order creation process, purchase orders for these materials are created based on the requisition requirements. After approval, the purchase order is sent to the supplier. The supplier delivers the goods to the factory according to the time and quantity requested in the purchase order. If these incoming materials are imported from abroad, shipping personnel will enter the relevant data into the import system module. After related data, including customs declaration, shipping documents, bill of lading, is entered, it will then be passed to warehouse personnel to create a goods receipt note. This part of the process connects to Create Goods Receipt in the Purchasing module. When materials imported from abroad or domestically produced materials arrive at the factory, warehouse personnel receive the materials and generate a goods receipt note. Then, IQC colleagues will inspect the temporarily received materials. After inspection, if the temporarily received materials pass, they can be received into inventory. For raw materials that pass acceptance, the inventory record will be synchronously updated with the accepted quantity. The accepted materials and quantities from the purchase order will be passed to the accounts payable module to await subsequent settlement and payment. If raw materials are rejected by IQC, quality control personnel will notify the supplier to retrieve the materials from the factory. Whether the raw materials are returned to the supplier, or the supplier sends personnel to our site for sorting or rework. This part of the process occurs outside the ERP system, as we haven't purchased the QA module. Therefore, there are no related documents to enter here. Next, we move to the Accounts Payable module. We see that in the Accounts Payable module, information regarding accepted materials transferred from the Purchasing module is received. If the material is set for automatic settlement, including outsourcing operations in the fourth cycle, manufacturing cycle, after the outsourced processed goods are accepted, accounts payable information will similarly flow to the Accounts Payable module. Whether the accounts payable voucher is generated automatically by the system or manually, these payments become part of the company's accounts payable. When the company makes payments, the Create Payment Order program is used to clear the accounts payable. The above describes the operational content within the purchasing cycle, cycle. Next, let's go through the program codes and related content within this cycle one by one. As mentioned earlier, in the cycle, let's assume we have a new supplier for whom we need to create a vendor master file. We must take the supplier's data, such as basic company information, contact person, or bank account details, this information, and establish it through the vendor data creation process. The program name is Create Vendor Data. The program code is PURI01. After establishing the vendor's basic data, which raw materials this supplier will produce for us is linked through the item number supplier creation process. The program name is Create Vendor by Item, and its code is PURI02. Once the vendor material association exists, the next step is to generate a purchase unit price for this association. The purchase unit price is generated through the price approval form creation process. This process uses an electronic sign-off procedure to approve the purchase price. The program name is Create Price Checking List. The program code is PURI03. With the above basic data established, after running LRP, PMC, production material control, personnel, based on the raw material lead time, Convert the planned orders from the purchasing plan into purchase requisitions. The creation of purchase requisitions is executed through this program. The English name is Create Purchasing Request. The program code is PURI05. After the purchase requisition is created, there might be some fine-tuning of quantities or required dates. This is done through the Purchase Requisition Data Maintenance Program. Its English name is Maintain Purchasing Request. The program code is PURI06. After the requisition data maintenance is complete, the data must be pushed to the purchasing module via the requisition data update process. The program name is Update PR Data. The program code is PURB01. After the purchasing department receives the purchase requisition submitted by the requesting department, it will, based on the system's prior configuration, determine from which supplier this material needs to be purchased. The creation of the purchase order uses this program, Create Purchasing Order. The program code is PURI07. Of course, before the materials arrive, the delivery date on the purchase order might change, or the items might need some adjustments. In this case, a purchase change note will be used. The program name for creating a purchase order change note is Create Purchasing Change Note. The program code is PURI08. Once the purchase order passes electronic sign-off, purchasing personnel send the PO to the supplier via email. After receiving the purchase order, the supplier proceeds with production based on its contents and delivers the raw materials to our factory site according to the time and quantity requested on the purchase order. If the raw material supplier is located overseas, when the materials arrive at customs, shipping personnel receive notification that goods require customs clearance. Shipping personnel generate the material-related import data in the ERP system through the Create SI Data operation. The program used is Create SI Data. The program code is IPSI04. Shipping personnel use the Create Custom Declaration Bill Retired Data program to establish customs declaration and bill retirement data. The program code is IPSI05. After the customs declaration and bill retirement data are established, a goods receipt note will then be created using the Create Goods Receive and Expense Data program. The program code is IPSB02. If the raw material supplier is domestic, not foreign, warehouse personnel will directly use the Create Goods Receive program. To create the goods receipt note, the program code is PURI09. Once the goods receipt note or import document is created, IQC quality inspection personnel know that newly arrived raw materials require IQC inspection. After the quality control personnel complete the IQC inspection, they will use the goods receipt inspection Maintain Purchasing Inspection program to enter the inspection results into the system. The program code is PURI13. When that batch of newly arrived raw materials is judged as accepted, the information about the received materials on the purchase order enters the Accounts Payable module. If the purchasing personnel have already configured the parameters for raw material accounts payable, an accounts payable voucher can be generated using the automatic settlement function. Alternatively, an accounts payable voucher can be created manually. The two programs used are respectively auto-closed AP Voucher, program code ACPB01, are creating the AP Voucher manually using the program Create AP Voucher, program code ACPI02. Once the accounts payable voucher data is established, Finance personnel, according to the accounts payable payment date, make the payment to the supplier. After the payment is made to the supplier, finance personnel will create a payment order using Create Payment Order. The program code is ACPI03. This clears the supplier's accounts payable balance in the system. So, the above covers the purchasing cycles, executed tasks and their associated program codes.